We've heard a lot about the convergence of private equity and public equity recently. Can you talk for a minute about what that means in your mind and what the broader market implications might be?
Sure. So convergence is a fancy word to mean that they are increasingly becoming one asset class, equity. And what's happening is, I had a call from the head of a US pension fund who said to me, I am going to increase my allocation to private equity. And I said, you don't like private equity. You think we're all greedy, horrible people. And he said, you are. And I'm not changing my mind on that, but here's what's happening. What I used to have in my public equity portfolio, the range of stock, the range of companies, is diminishing. You know, in the US, over half of public companies have disappeared in the last 25 years. And increasingly, they're in the private side, and they're staying private longer. And that's where you get access to a lot of the companies that used to be in the public world. I mean, in what environment? Last year, this year, OpenAI raised $5 billion at a $150 billion valuation. Like, that just didn't happen 10 years ago. So the convergence is that the public and private world are increasingly becoming one place to invest along the equity scheme. And so you have to have exposure to the private side in order to have exposure to the companies that you used to have as part of your public equity portfolio. And the same is happening on the credit side. You've seen all this discussion about how private credit is supplanting bank capital, public debt. It is becoming increasingly a place where you have to have exposure in order to have a real suite of credit and debt exposure in your portfolio. Infrastructure, the same thing. And then the other part that's happening, in order for that to become real, you have to have products, you have to have structures that allow a broader range of investors to get into these private markets. And so what you're seeing is the emergence of these evergreen vehicles, these semi-liquid products, which are allowing more investors to get access into the private side in order to take advantage of the fact that it is now where a lot of these opportunities are being found.